We're going to start with Fast and Furious 6 because all four of us saw it, as well as most of America. Brian, what was, and I use this term loosely, what is the story about?
Yeah, had to dig some research here, to try to find the actual plot. But here's what I kind of came up with. Hobbs, who's, of course, played by The Rock, he recruits Dom and his quote-unquote family to help him bring down a sort of vehicular gang and their criminal mastermind known as Shaw. Now that kind of Dom's crew is set financially, all they really need are some full pardons so they don't have to spend the rest of their lives looking over their shoulders. And, of course, Hobbs is the man to kind of make that happen. Justin, did you really even need a story to go see this, or?
You always need a little bit of a story.
And that's what we got.
You can have, a reason why you go from, vehicular mayhem to vehicular mayhem. There was just enough of that story to make it interesting. The whole push of this movie really seems to be driving home the fact, and pardon that pun, of family and how important that should be, and whose family, what does it mean to stick by them, so on and so forth. And I really have a feeling that that's a lot of Vin Diesel pushing for that, because I know from seeing some of the things that he says on Facebook and the like that he's just a really big believer in family and love and all that bullshit. And so it gets a little sappy on occasion. It's like they're trying a little too hard with that. But that said, I actually found myself kind of engrossed in the whole Letty part of the movie and why she's there and how that came about. I kind of like the story. It's bare bones at best, but it was enough. It worked.
Oh man, I could not disagree more. I was completely bored with anything in this movie that didn't involve an action sequence. Not even making this up, I fell asleep in the theater during the scene when they're explaining Letty's backstory and what happened to her. I was so bored. It's when you try to think about it, it's the most.
If they had sang it, would you have been
more maybe? No, if Vin Diesel broke out in song,
if he had broke into a baritone
and a Baz Luhrmann number.
It was just ridiculous. It was just. It's like every action movie cliche, all built into one. And
that's fair enough.
And I understand. I like the last one, but I think that this group of characters works better in a heist movie, where it's something that's actually interesting instead of we're going to recruit a bunch of guys that can drive cars really fast to stop a guy with a nuclear weapon. I mean, come on.
When you say it out loud, it does sound pretty stupid. Honestly, this has to be the only series of films outside of James Bond movies where audiences have no problem throwing all logic to the wind. Just all logic.
But it didn't start that way. Bond did. You know what I mean? Bond. Not that there's no logic.
You didn't even see the first three movies. They were all ridiculous. They had.
No, I saw the first movie.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
It was pretty ridiculous. I mean, the whole concept of these drag racers with being high-class car or thieves or whatever they were. That's pretty far-fetched. And Fast 5 was absolutely ridiculous. They drug safes down a freeway, man.
Yeah.
I don't know how you get more ridiculous.
Fun.
That was 20 tons worth of safe that these two cars can not only drag, but then bash through shit
and keep going.
And yes, I do think it's ridiculous.
I won't get into spoiler stuff, but let's just say in Furious 6, it gets bigger than a giant safe. And I can't wait to see what's next in 7, because there's not a whole lot of things in or outside of this planet that are much bigger than what they brought down.
Brian suggested the space station next, which I think is genius.
Oh, that would be awesome.
I think
that's going to be like an 8 or 9.
They have one of those geosynchronous satellites that's hooked to the Earth with a tether, and then they hook it up to a car. That would be awesome.
Maybe they could drop some tungsten rods down. And
well, then you're going to blow up the whole city. We've already gone over that.
This is true. Well, they got 4-wheel drives.
Yeah.
There's so many plot elements that I can't go into too much.
Dude, you do not go to this kind of movie and worry about the plot. You just cannot do it.
It's not even about that. It's just...
No, but when... and I'll tell you what, I will preface this to where if you want to cut this, go ahead. But when you send a guy into prison to find out why the bad guy is one step ahead of you, there's a hint. I mean, you're breaking into a prison
where you're wanted.
Yeah,
where you're wanted.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the subplots.
Why this guy is one step ahead of why he's smarter than you.
And honestly, the most needless plot point of any film I've seen this year. They could have cut.
Really, I mean,
it was
this
unnecessary.
movie was almost.
Don't stand up for that, Justin.
Well, I'm not going to stand up for it.
Okay.
But what it is that this movie was almost kind of like a clip show version of all previous 5 films, and they continuously brought in characters from the previous movies. And this scene
That was fine in the opening credits when they did a clip show from the previous 5 movies.
The only reason they seemed to do that scene was to have that guy in it. Yeah, sure, it's stupid, and Paul Walker's character has always been stupid in these movies, but I don't believe that you can go to this film and knock it for its story. You don't go for the story. The story is there purely to hang action scenes around. Mm-hmm. If the story doesn't make any sense, that doesn't matter as long as the action scenes work.
What do you guys think of the acting? We gotta move on. Vin Diesel, he pretty much walks through the movie like an Italian Buddha, where every line he says is even slower and more methodical than the last movie. And I just, there's one part, and everybody saw in the trailer where he says this stupid shit. Stuff like, you don't turn your back on family even when they do. No, Vin, when your ex-girlfriend shoots you in the fucking chest, you turn your back on her and you walk away.
Yep, your family's done at that point.
But he still owns the movie. I mean, I think this is the only thing he does anymore is Fast and Furious movies and the Riddick movie coming out. But
that's all he needs to do.
That's all he needs to do. But he does a great job. He holds the movie. He makes The Rock look like his bitch.
Did you notice that the only person that showed any emotion to seeing Letty's picture is Letty? When she's looking at it and like kind of reminiscing about, or trying to reminisce like this happy moment that I got. But everyone else just sees it and has no response. Just, okay.
They're too shocked.
They are exactly. Justin has an answer. They're too shocked.
That's a dumbstruck look. Look over at Aaron right now. He probably has it.
I have it most of my life.
Yeah.
I do think Paul Rodriguez.
Yeah, he brought the comedic element in the movie.
Michelle Rodriguez and Paul Walker, both of them, they have the same acting coach because they each have like only one look, and it's just not good. Neither one of them are good actors. I like them because they're pretty, but they don't.
Paul Walker's always got that look like he's like a dog who just dropped a bone in front of you, like toss it.
He reminds me of like Keanu Reeves back in the day. Like
no, Keanu Reeves is so much. He is a thespian compared to Paul Walker. Seriously, they should just give him. If they had an acting contest, Keanu won before he even started.
You know who I actually liked in this movie as far as acting was Ludacris. What's his real name?
Chris Bridges.
Mm-hmm. Him
and Tyrese. I like both.
He actually looks like he's acting, where everyone else just looks like they're being themselves.
Well, and Tyrese, he is a stupid motherfucker. He can be funny though. I mean, that whole baby oil. Oh God, I almost fell out of my seat.
That
laughing.
was funny. Yeah, that was.
And then
funny.
the forehead remark. God damn.
I'm telling you, I think this movie proves once again The Rock is a better supporting actor than he is a leading man.
Absolutely.
His fucking biceps should get their own billing. I mean, his lats are so huge. His arms kind of stick out like the young brother from A Christmas Story. And he's got the parka on. You know, he can't bring his arms down. That's The Rock. His fucking muscles are so huge, he can't put his arms down straight.
I was flipping.
They're always akimbo.
I was flipping channels the other day and saw the Scorpion King.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
He's literally half the size he is now.
Well, I just watched Fast 5 before we went and saw this one, and he's half the size. I mean, he OD'd on steroids before this movie was shot.
He looks like a real life version of that. Was it Johnny Bravo from the Cartoon Network? Like
something
that disproportionate from like the upper body and the torso.
It's ridiculous.
Like he's walking around like he's got sunburned armpits. Like it's.
One last thing about the acting. Did anybody feel that Luke? Was it Luke Evans, the villain?
Yeah,
it was good.
Did you?
I liked him.
I like him, but I never really felt like he was a bad guy.
Oh, I totally disagree, man. I thought he
had
really
the
held
facial
his
hair
own.
for
When
that.
he has this little scene with Vin Diesel and they're going face to face, I thought that was fantastic. I loved it. Absolutely.
That was a good scene. That was a good. I love those scenes. You know, where the bad guy is actually kind of being kind of cordial and honorable in a way.
The only acting thing that really was bugging me was Gina Carano, who I love, adore her in a really naughty way. But man, when she kicks ass, her fights with Rodriguez are fantastic.
That was awesome.
They're brutal. I mean, they're better than the Rock's fights in the movie, as far as I'm concerned. I just loved them. But when she speaks, you can even tell the director didn't like her because she got like one line per scene, and it's always like, "Hey, there they are," you know, and shit like that. She gets like 6 words. Just not good at all.
Did this really feel more of a Fast and Furious or a Mission Impossible type of movie? I mean, we had the fast cars, we had explosions, cross interstate flying rescues. Aaron, what'd you think about this?
I think Justin Lin, who directed this, he's now moved on to other things. He picked a great movie to go out on because the ending set piece, which takes place on the longest runway in the history of runways,
It's about 50 miles.
it's roughly 50
it literally
miles.
stretches from London to Moscow.
Yes. It's one of those set pieces that is completely over the top. It's so over the top that it becomes amazing just for the sheer ridiculousness of it. I mean, it's fun. It's dumb. I loved how he did it. Lynn knows how to make a superhero movie with just everyday thieves. I was really impressed with how the movie came out. Even though I know it's stupid, even though I know it's ridiculous, I just love the way this plays out. And it's easily my second favorite of the series, next to Fast Five.
I think the shots are very dynamic, and he does a really good job of capturing the action without doing the whole shaky cam and really letting you watch the action that a lot of
Yes, I'm very
previous
grateful
movies.
for that. Yeah.
But
Yes.
but I just didn't. A lot of the set pieces weren't nearly as interesting to me. This movie's called Fast and the Furious, and it felt like it was a beat 'em up brawler movie more than it was about more than the other stuff that I wanted to go see the movie for, which was the car action sequences and stuff. I felt like there was maybe 1 or 2 things that I didn't see in the trailer that I wasn't surprised by, and everything else was about The Rock being the Hulk apparently, and people getting smashed into the walls, and I mean the Gina Carano Michelle Rodriguez fight was awesome, but there was just way too much brawling for me. I felt like I just wanted the movie to get back to more car.
Do you want
action
more
sequences.
vroom vroom and less bam bam?
Yes, that's pretty much it.
I do think this movie in particular has gotten a little too far into the, Mission Impossible style of movie with, fisticuff fights, shootouts, and then the driving scenes. I do wish they would have had a bit more vehicular action, especially motorcycles. They introduced a motorcycle scene in this one that I don't know if there have been motorcycles really used in the previous movies. And that scene in this one really was fun to watch. I wish they would do more of that, but these movies shine for me when they're in the cars and just putting that pedal to the metal. That's when the real fun is happening.
We've kind of run a little bit longer than what we really anticipated. Imagine that. But in a sentence or less, give me a score. Justin, you first.
I think Fast Five was better. I would give this one an 8 out of 10, an $8.
Aaron, what do you give it?
Ridiculous and insane, but it's the exact kind of fun I want in a theater. I give it 8 out of 10 too.
Scotty, what you got?
It delivers in the action department, provided you check your brain at the door, but the parts in between left me bored and frustrated by dumb story elements. I gave it a 6 out of 10.
Ooh, body blow. All right. Well, I liked the first 2/3 of it. I loved the last action-packed and very emotional last third of it. So I'm giving it an 8.5.
Stay through the credits.